How's it going? Hope you can hear me. The wind is crazy out here today, but I'm up in the mountains of western North Carolina, and we're looking for ramps. It's spring, and this is something I've done since I was a kid. As an adult, I don't get to do it but every couple of years, but I've got a video on my channel from a couple years back where me and Nathan went in to get some ramps, and I've done it with our older brothers before as well. We're going to go in and see if we can't get a few to introduce some of our friends to them and just have a good time. So stick around. Let's see how this goes. All right, we've made it to the ramp patch. Wind's nowhere near as bad as up here. We've already started digging. Got a handful right there. All right, I'll show you something though. So these right here, these are ramps. They're a wild leek. Wild, you know, basically they're like a cross between garlic and onion. That it's outgrowing it right now, but that's called, and when I was growing up, that was called crowhash. And it is not something you eat. It's poisonous, and it looks, see the ramp, that's crowhash. It looks somewhat similar. See that? That's crowhash. So if you ever come in to do this on your own and you hadn't been shown the difference, or you don't know the difference from childhood, don't confuse the two. This is kind of the terrain they grow in. Pretty high up in the mountains. It's an Appalachian mountain tradition. In most mountain communities, there'll be several people that go get them, and the people that don't go get them, somebody usually brings them some. It's a pretty big thing this time of year, middle of April in our area. They actually grow quite a bit further north than us. Come up into Chicago and up in there but I think I don't know if it's quite as big a thing up there as it is down our way. And you know, a lot of people forage them differently. A lot of these foraging groups, I've seen people say just take the leaves. That's sustainable, and I get that. But I know this patch, I've alone been coming to this patch since I was about 7 or 8 years old, and definitely not the only person that comes here, and they're still here. When I was growing up, you know, we always, you know, that has to be cleaned up and the roots cut off the bottom, but the bulb on the bottom was the main thing everybody ate. The leaves, you know, some people didn't eat the leaves. I do, my dad did, but you know, so it's just a difference. Everybody does it different, and you know, but let's keep going. Let's get enough to for ourselves to have a meal with them and maybe share with some friends. All right, so one thing that I do, I've seen other people do, is if I see a patch, I'll dig a patch, like a small bundle, like see that bundle right there, kind of right there, I'll dig that. But if there's one right next to it, I'll leave it. So a lot of people, back when I was growing up, they'd sit down in one spot and just dig. I don't do that. I move around a little bit. It's more sustainable. And from what I've seen in this patch over the last couple of years, other people are doing what I'm doing, moving around, not just digging in one spot. So if you ever want to know how to find them, I'll fill it in at the end, but they grow on a certain side of the ridge. Mid-April in our area. It'll be different if you're further up north. I don't think they grow much further south than this. At certain elevations they'll grow. You can do your own research on some of that, but it's something that if you grew up in Appalachia, you definitely probably know, especially if you come from a family of people that grew up in Appalachia, you definitely know what these are. And they are kind of hitting the forager circles I've seen as a thing. But pretty fun, good to eat. My dad would put them in burgers, he'd pickle them, he'd put them in meats and things like that. He'd cut them up and put them in different foods. Yep, exactly. That's the wrong one, buddy. Little creek. This creek was a little bigger. I'd have brought a rod, but I knew it wasn't. It's great little creeks to catch up in these mountains here to catch wild trout. So that's another thing for another day. But we're gonna move around, dig a few more. Just don't want to get more than what we need, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right, guys, we got our ramps. We're headed back to the vehicle, my truck. We got what we thought we needed for us. We got enough to give to a couple people that asked, but I didn't get an over in abundance, and left a lot there to be dug, so, and to reseed. Now, get back up here, it's gonna be high winds again where I'm going. But funny thing happened to us on the way in here. My vehicle, my vehicle's in great shape, threw like a code right before we got to where we were going to park, and it said it just threw a engine lost power, losing power, and it put up a check engine light. So in the park, I've got a code reader with me. I keep one in my vehicle. I checked the code, and it said that it was that it wouldn't get enough power, enough electricity, like it was losing battery voltage connection or something. So it could have been a one-off. I cleared the code. Hope something's not wrong. We are no cell phone service, high up in the mountains. We're probably 30 minutes from a house, probably a long way from any kind of auto parts store, a couple of hours. And we was to break down. It's doubtful we would make it back somewhere without having to spend a night on the side of the road. So I'm a little worried about it. Hopefully it goes well. I will wrap this video up with either what goes on with that as we go back, or I will wrap it up and let you know that we made it home safely, or what happened. Whatever happens, I will clue it in at the end of the video. So y'all stick around the end. Let's see if we can make it the 2-hour drive back home without ending up stuck on the side of the road. And most likely, like I said, if we can get about an hour from here without that happening, we can probably get a tow. But if we don't, we're probably spending the night, because it'll be tomorrow before anybody can get to us. And we have enough with us that we'll be okay, but we ain't gonna be comfortable. So see how it goes. These things can happen. Hopefully it's nothing, but just wanted to add that in. These things can happen, and I usually go more prepared than I feel like I need to be, but then something sometimes happens and you're like, dang, wish I had a few blankets with me. Wish I had a jump pack with me that I forgot to put in the truck today. But let's see what happens. All right, guys, I am almost home. No more code popped up. That must have been a fluke. Just something touched, something bumped. I was on a gravel road, kind of a rough mountain road, so could be anything. I checked my voltage. The voltage is good, so I don't know what that was. So, but we're almost home. So, turned out to be a good trip. I was afraid we might end up spending an impromptu night out of service in a truck, but we would have been okay. We would have got through it. These things happen when you head out to have adventure, but it turned out great. And now I have some ramps to clean and get ready to give out to a few people that ask, and then have some good ones for myself. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And spring is coming, and I'm just ramping back up, and hopefully get to take you guys along and have some fun. And maybe we can do some fun things. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.